Welcome to the
We are live.
Welcome to the thrilling world of Security Squawk, where we explore cybersecurity. Guiding you through online threats, we'll aid you in understanding safety protocols and trends. Meet our gurus, Bryan from Exact IT, Reginald from Arc Solvers, and Randy from Tech Rescue. Together, we'll delve into current events and hot cybersecurity topics, helping you comprehend their impact. Stay informed, stay secure. Security Squawk, the business of cybersecurity. Buckle up, let's dive in.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Security Squawk podcast. I am Bryan with Andre and Randy. How are you guys?
Doing well. Happy Thursday. Feels
Pretty
a little
good. How
weird
about
being on
you?
the call on a Thursday.
Yeah, I'm coming to you from my other office because my studio computer just is not happy with me today. So I'm going to do the show from my work desk. So hopefully that works out well and you guys can hear me well. I think this mic's okay. So I think it should be fine. Today's show, got a lot to talk about. But before we get into it, remember we have a quick reminder of our fee where we don't charge. We don't bore you with ads. We don't do all that annoying stuff. We just give you the goods. We get straight to the content. We don't waste your time. And in return for that, we ask that you help us grow the show by sharing the show. Give us a like, rate us on your favorite podcasting platform, give us a 5-star review. It helps the algorithm understand that this is a worthwhile piece of content that people should also be aware of when you do things like that. And when you do things like that, it motivates us to continue to come on every week and educate you on cybersecurity and all the threats that exist and what you can start doing to protect yourself, because God knows we got a bunch we got to talk about today, guys. We're going to get into City of Columbus messing around with some cybersecurity researcher. That's an interesting story. We got over 1 million people who are Medicare recipients or beneficiaries who've had their information compromised in the last week. And we're going to talk about that and the impacts of really all these breaches that involve all these data breaches that involve all this healthcare information. It seems to be just nonstop these days. Every other day, it seems like we're dealing with some kind of health entity that is, losing data or having data stolen from them that contains all this private health information. So we'll talk about the impacts of that. And we got some schools dealing with some stuff. So we'll talk about that as well. So I don't know what we have first on the docket. I think it's the London subway attack.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one because we didn't know much when it first started, but it appears that a boy has been arrested over the London transport cyber hack. What's going on here?
It sounds like a British term. Like they found the boy. Done it,
Apparently it's a teenager. The crazy thing about it, though, he went online and purchased all the stuff that he needed to go ahead and hack the London subway system. Was successful. His big problem was in their little checklist of things they told you to do when you're doing the hack with this service that he bought. Box number 12, turn on VPN before you do your dirty deeds. And he forgot to do that, and they were able to trace it back to his flat. They were able to trace the boy back at his flat.
He wasn't across the pond.
Yeah.
So this reminds me of, about a year or so ago. Man, I'm running out of gas today, quick. This reminds me, what was that group where they were doing a lot of damage? Was it Shiny Hunters or something like that? I forget. And
they got the ones that got into like some of the big like graphics companies. Oh yeah.
And then they were like, oh, it's some dude over in the UK. It really wasn't some dude over in the UK. But that's what people were saying at first. Like, it's just one guy over in the UK. Like, I wonder if it was this guy. But no, I mean, so Randy, you mentioned something. I want to just dig into this a little bit with you guys. Because I think it's interesting, right? You're saying that this dude went on the dark web. That's where he went, right? To get started on this?
Yep.
And he went on the dark web, and we'll talk about the dark web in a minute here in another story. He goes on the dark web and he learns how to hack, or did he have skills already? Help me understand.
That part I'm not sure about.
Okay.
But if I had to guess, I don't think he's learning. I think he's buying something for a couple of $100.
Yeah, he's obviously got some. I mean, he's obviously can follow instructions.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, are we dealing with somebody who? I'm just trying to put context as to, because I feel like hacking is still in a place where you need to know a little bit of like Python and some other languages to do stuff. We haven't made it that easy where somebody can just go on the dark web and buy something and do this kind of damage. Is that what you're saying? Is that where we're at?
Well, we've been talking about, so y'all know this, but for our crowd, they call that ransomware as a service, where experts, quote unquote, put together the software that does the ransomware, and then you just need a low level criminal to have the ability to get into the network, and then that person can release the ransomware as a service, and then this ransomware as a service takes over, which I'm assuming they also have negotiation that they provide.
So I'm going to bounce it over to Andre real quick. Andre, you're reading the article. What did this guy do to the London Transport Network? What was he able to accomplish by his actions?
Yeah, there's something called the Oyster card system. So this is like their way of how they swipe the cards for the bus and trains and so forth.
Right.
And let's just say maybe you overpaid, or you say, you know what, I have $20 on this. I just want my money back. It's their refund system that he was able to get into this card system and specifically gather the data on the refunds. So their information, he was able to get into that system.
So did this lead? But this didn't. And again, when I was reading the story when it first came out, this didn't affect the operations, correct?
No, just your typical email address, home address, bank account numbers, and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
And look how nonchalant we're saying it now. It's like, yeah,
right. Right. So, in other words, this guy went on the dark web or somewhere and got help, or somehow got the tools needed to break into this system and start stealing this data. Is that where we're at?
Correct.
Man, I wonder what he stole. I wonder what he got his hands on. I wonder what he exploited. I would love to know that. So maybe by the next show we can figure that out.
There's no telling. I did look up the one from last year, and it was Lapsus.
That's it. Lapsus. That's it.
And a 18-year-old teenager, he was convicted by a jury, and according to the trial, he helped hack multiple high-profile corporations, stole data from them, and demanded a ransom. So they don't really go into detail exactly on how he did it.
Right. And this story could unfold in a similar fashion where we find out that this boy wasn't acting alone. I think there's more to this story than we know yet. And personally, I don't think it's as simple as some boy went on the dark web and was able to accomplish this. I don't think we're there yet. I mean, I hope my 10-year-old can't do this. But if we're making it that easy, businesses are in a lot of trouble. I mean, I say that all the time on the show, that businesses are in a lot of trouble. But Jesus Christ, we literally just moved the goalpost, 80 yards here, and we shortened the field a lot. So that's why I was asking all the questions, because I'm like, maybe we're in a spot that I don't think we're in, but Jesus, I think we'll learn more in the coming weeks and months of who helped this boy, how he got helped, and who else was involved. The boy was how old? Do we know how old? 17.
17.
So he's not a boy. So he's a young man. So I was thinking like a 10-year-old did this. So unfortunately, his life's probably ruined. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, I mean, probably, but you never know. Like
right, could become the most world-renowned, cyber criminal. I mean, Michael Mitnick. Who else? There's a bunch of them out there that make tons of money.
Maybe he'll flip to the good side and start a cybersecurity company. And
there you go. He's already got a name. Here's the guy who hacked the London thing. Now he has a cybersecurity company. All righty. So moving right along, we got the million people who have Medicare face a data breach, guys. Another Medicare data breach, which they seem to happen multiple times a year with the multiple entities that deal with Medicare, right? It seems like a lot of people have their hands on Medicare data, like a lot of people along the way between your healthcare providers, your payment processors, health insurance companies. I mean, there's so many people who are involved in the payment of healthcare. It's mind-boggling sometimes. But I'll just kind of touch on the high-level stuff that I have in front of me. The Medicare data breach of 1 million people included the names and dates of birth of these people, Social Security numbers, mailing addresses, hospital information like account numbers and insurance information, claim information. So, I mean, claim information, think about it, right? That's going to have probably the procedure or what you had done, x-rays, CAT scan, a lobotomy. I don't know. That's all going to be on there. So let's talk about, guys, why is this a big deal?
Well, I'm going to say it's a big deal because it's due to Move It, which was last year.
Yep.
So I don't want to say it could have been prevented, but it could have been prevented.
I don't want to say it could have been prevented.
Yeah.
Well, you've only. Well, I guess what's the date on Move It? We'll look that up by Randy's.
May 2023.
Ooh. Yeah, and the breach was actually this past towards the end of July. And I looked back through our shows. They must not have let people know when they found out in July, towards the end of July. But now this must be, all in one. They're letting everybody know. And, oh, by the way, it's 1 million people. And, you asked, why is this important? Because you can take all of this information, the 1 million records with all of these things, put it into bad GPT or Chat GPT or whatever you want to call it, and come up with a really, really difficult phishing attack to stand against, because it'll have a lot of personal information and sound, like it's legit, and people are going to fall for it.
And there is a thing called healthcare fraud, where somebody could essentially steal your identity to get healthcare in this country, right? They can walk into a doctor's office. They can walk in and say, I'm you, right? I'm you, Randy. You have health insurance. I don't. I got enough information on you to where I can make it look like I'm you. Walk or get an ID that says I'm Randy Bryan with my picture, right? And then they're like, yeah, show me your ID. And we see your health insurance card. Here it all is. And they copy it and they give me health insurance, right?
Yep.
And you're getting bills in the mail for my cancer treatment. Or who knows where that's going. It's getting billed against your insurance, and then you're getting copays or something like that. That's how people find out about this stuff, and it is happening. So we're talking about the Medicare one, Andre.
No, we pretty much covered it.
No, you asked in the chat with article.
There's a whole convo in front of that.
So yeah, we're talking about something else. Yeah,
my bad.
All I gotta say is the hackers got to move quick with the Medicare one.
So what we're trying to highlight here, folks, just at a high level, is companies need to take these vulnerabilities that are released seriously, and especially something that's publicly facing like this Move It. And what we're pointing out is that this company failed to update their systems in a timely manner.
Yep.
And now we have this breach, right? So in other words, the world has known about this problem for over 18 months, and this company made the decision day after day to do nothing about this, right? And at this point, there's no excuse, in my opinion. There's no excuse for you to not take care of this. There's no excuse for you to move to something else that's not vulnerable anymore. There's so many different things that could have been done here that could have prevented this. And whether you think $1 million is a lot or not these days with all the stuff that's going on, I mean, it seems like almost like a drop in the bucket compared to all the data that's being stolen out there today. It's still a big problem, because this just goes to show you, like, when I come on my own YouTube channel or I come on the show and I'm like, we are so far behind, it's not even funny. This is the stuff that we're referencing when we say those things. So anything else you guys want to add there?
Yeah. Remember in the green room how you were saying, don't say anything to get you upset today? It was a joke, but so I'm reading down in this article, and it says they're taking comprehensive measures to address the data breach and protect beneficiaries. And they go on to say what they're doing. They're sending out written notifications. They're telling people how it happened and what was leaked and how to protect yourself. And they're also they're going to pay for credit monitoring. And furthermore, they're taking the proactive step of printing new Medicare cards. I mean, this is pretty upsetting. So they're doing all the things that are kind of required by law. And that's not really proactive. Proactive would be fix your dang system, fix your updating system on your system, and make your system cyber secure. To me, that's proactive, not sending out a written notice and giving everybody a new card and saying, oh, here's your 1 year of free credit monitoring. Okay, so I'm done. I'm off my soapbox.
You're upset. I don't get upset about free credit monitoring anymore. All right, so we're gonna move on here because I want to get Andre's take on this before he's got to leave. But this whole city of Columbus thing, guys, this is wild. I mean, I've been calling this mayor out for weeks for his asinine behavior, and I'm still gonna call it asinine behavior. But I don't know what the hell's going on here. Andre, you sent this article to the group last night, and I was reading it, and I'm going, what does this even mean? Like, did you have the same reaction? Like, what settlement? If anything, the fucking cybersecurity researcher should be suing the city. And to me, it seems like the city realized that when I read the article, I was like, all right, then they realize they need to be working with this guy because they realize this guy can help them. And that's basically what the agreement is that they basically came in an agreement that this guy will help them.
So according to what I'm seeing, he had disclosed to the media some of the personal information, like, hey, this is screenshots of socials or whatever. So that was what led to the restraining order. And it seems that he also was going to provide something to the residents, kind of like Have I Been Pawned, where you can go and put in your name or number and it's going to tell you. And that's so according to the city, they're saying that he was causing like significant concern that was not needed. Like, hey, the city's taking care of this. Don't worry. We don't need you out there yelling there's a fire. Right. There was a fire.
Right. And I just think that this reeks of like people who don't understand this stuff. He's not the only person who's putting this stuff out there publicly. There's literally sites built that scrape the dark web and bring this stuff to like Twitter and X, and it's all over the internet. Like, for them to like put it on this guy, I'm having a hard time with. I don't understand it because he's not the only one who's doing it.
They were bullying him. That's what they did. They have the attorney.
Like, I don't know how all these politicians don't lose their jobs from top to bottom, from mayor all the way down to the law enforcement that's prosecuting this guy. This is overreach beyond, and it's idiots. It's guys. It's people that are ignorant to what it really goes on out there with this stuff.
Agreed.
Randy, you agree? Come on, Randy.
Yes. And
I know you're doing work.
this has been a shocking case, I think, for not shocking, but it's been, it stood out like a sore thumb, because why are they suing this guy?
Right.
And why are they suing this guy who, when they're not
I
saying
hope
what
this
they
guy has lawyers that said, okay, we're coming after you. We're going to countersue you. And here's what we're going to do. And then these city officials wised up and they're like, you know what? Maybe this guy can help us. Maybe we should just offer him a job and then pretend like we came to some agreement so we don't look like complete idiots when we announce this. Yeah. And thank you for not suing us, sir.
Yeah.
It's wild. But it also goes to show you, and I think why we're talking about it at the end of the day, at the macro level, why we're talking about this is it goes to show you where our lawmakers are at on this stuff. And they got to put laws in place to start making businesses and people do the right thing. And this is how they behave. So we're so far off base from anything happening at that level because this is what you got going on out there. That's how I read the situation.
You're not wrong.
Deflecting the blame.
It's not even deflecting the blame. It's just they don't understand it. So if they're this far off base, they're never going to be able to get their head around it to pass laws and stuff.
But yet they still will. And
I don't remember, know, it's been going on for 10 years.
I don't know if it was the same organization, but I remember there was a government official. Like we read like this 2 different articles, the same show. Where one show they were saying, oh, you need to be secure by watching your data. It was like their advice. And at the same time, they were trying to pass a law or something like that. You probably need to consult with experts more.
You look at CISA. CISA's been hacked. Their whole database that they stored risk assessment information in for, I think it was the gas industry or one critical infrastructure industry. The whole entire Avanti system got hacked and they stored network information in there from risk assessments that they did, right? And they're out there running around saying you got to patch your systems and don't have legacy and vulnerable systems out there, right? They have Avanti sitting out there, which has been vulnerable for a long time, right? So it happens at the highest levels with the people that are supposed to be the best at this stuff. Right. So, it's a scary situation, Randy.
Yep.
So Highline Public Schools, who wants to round out the show and let everybody know what's going on at this school up in Washington State? Dealing with a ransomware attack, right?
I can start off with the article if Ms. Andre wants to. All right. So looks like Highline Public Schools, a K-12 district in Washington State. They've totally shut down, canceled school activities after their tech systems were compromised in a cyber attack.
I think they're coming back to school today.
Okay. In a statement issued Monday, the district confirmed that all schools would remain closed and all activities, including athletics and meetings, would be canceled on the 9th.
Yeah.
So bottom line, they were attacked. And they had to close school.
Yep. And I think they felt the pressure and they got everyone back in school before, like they're not recovered right now. They just sent everybody back. Right. So they were just like, we don't want to take the heat of telling kids they need to stay home all week. Look, because we've talked about this before on the show, right? When this stuff happens, it impacts people's lives.
Yep.
Right. When schools, when hospitals, when libraries, when governments, municipalities get attacked, it impacts things. It impacts, if municipal government gets hit, it could be their police department that gets impacted. It could be their 911 system. It could be their ability to process titles. And then, people can't buy and sell homes in that town. Like we've seen all kinds of those things disrupting ordinary people's lives because of cyber attacks. And same thing here, like parents have to take off from work, right? They have to use PTO time, unexpectedly, because now they don't want to leave their kids at home alone because their kids can't go to school because of a cyber attack. This is how cyber attacks affect people's lives. And yeah, there's not much you can do about it if your kid's school gets hacked, other than go to the school board and make sure that they're doing the right thing around cybersecurity and asking the right questions to hold those people accountable to make sure that this is even on their radar. And don't accept like, yeah, we have good cybersecurity, because that's what my kid's school said. When was your last third-party audit? Can you provide us with the reports, please? Right? Because they should be able to produce that.
Here's a zinger. So school started just last Wednesday, September the 4th.
Yep.
And they had to cancel the classes the following Monday.
Yeah.
Imagine the pressure on that.
Right.
Think you got everything grooved. Parents are going back to work full time, and boom, nope. Tell your kids to stay home.
Yep.
Oh, and of course now there's probably a ransom where they're like, we didn't even talk about that, but I'm sure there'll be a ransom as well.
Yeah, that's they have no idea at this point. Well, they probably do today since it's Thursday, but they have no idea like how deep this rabbit hole goes, and is it, just a ransomware? They're going to pay the ransom and just try to get back? Are they embedded in their systems where even if they wipe a machine, they just magically come, the bad guys will magically come right back, after a wipe machine? Like, there's no telling how rough this is going to be for this school district. That's part of the disturbing part of this.
Yeah. You never know. And it's a conversation I've had with many local school officials is, I don't know how I want to say this, but I want to say it, right? There are things that have happened in my experience with my kids going through the school system. There are things that I sit there and I scratch my head at because they want to do the right thing and protect information and protect children. And I'm speaking specifically around things like disciplinary issues and how they handle those things today versus when I was in school. And there's this whole big thing about protecting privacy, right? And not allowing other people to know simple things like, hey, your kid punched my kid in the face and you won't tell me what their consequences are because you're not allowed, because there's some fucking rule somewhere that says, they have privacy rights. Right. But I don't see these schools protecting health information, from being stolen by cyber criminals, and it spills out on the dark web. They care about it in one instance, but they don't care about it in another instance. Right. And do we really need to protect that information? Like, if I want to know if my kid's school is handling a disciplinary issue that my kid was involved in properly or not, I think that's something I have the right to know. Right. If I'm involved in a physical altercation between my kid and another kid, and I want to know what the school did to that other kid, so I can be sure that kid, at least learned a lesson from it, and they don't have to tell me any of that stuff. And they sit there and go, we don't, there's privacy laws. We don't need to tell you that. And then I see the kids doing the same behavior and over, and I ask questions, and then, their whole entire medical record could be on the dark web for all you know, and you're worried about telling me a little bit of information. Those are the things I look at, and like, right or wrong, my brain just goes, oh my God, like, take a step back from your day to day, look at this at a macro level, and let's look at what you're really saying here.
And you see that in other areas of tech as well. I won't go into the details, but one of the popular social media apps that we know is a data privacy leak. Everybody knows it's a privacy leak that has any kind of knowledge about cybersecurity. They're allowed on the app stores, like, no problem, but at the same time, those companies get up and talk about how they love privacy so much,
100%. And I agree with you 100% from the same angle I just took. I know that there's teachers in my kid's school that encourage TikTok videos. Meanwhile, can I just
Just stop there,
Can I just go?
drop the mic, and walk out.
Yeah. It's a cherry on top for you, Randy. Prove
That's
your point.
right.
And I named the app. So appreciate the insight, guys. As always, remember, guys, listen in, share the show, leave us comments. We appreciate the support. See everyone next week. Take care.
Bye, everybody.